Hello, my friends. Hello, bro. Hello, everyone, and welcome to my channel. Today, I have, as a special guest here, I have my bro Andrew Mercado. Andrew, can you hear us?
Yes, I can.
Awesome, great. Cool, we can hear you too. And today, we are going to talk about what the fuck is wrong with the Pope.
Dude, horrible. That was the worst thing I've seen in recent times. Seeing that come out and what the Pope had said. How's everybody doing in the chat, though? Before we start, like the video, make sure you subscribe to Operator Starsky's channel, support Operator Starsky's work. And I'm really liking this new misinformation tackling too. Like you get reports from the war in Ukraine from Starsky, and then you get misinformation battling, which is awesome.
Yeah, thank you so much, bro. And I will keep making updates on the situation in Ukraine. Currently, I'm freaking overloaded with videos for the Institute because it's another very important thing. And
Absolutely, bro.
unfortunately, there's only one me, and I have to do several things simultaneously. But before we start shilling the hell out of Pope Francis, let me first mention one very important thing that happened yesterday. So 20 Days in Mariupol received Oscar. It's a first Ukrainian Oscar, first Ukrainian academic award in the history, basically. And for those who don't know, 20 Days in Mariupol is a documentary about the events that took place in Mariupol during the first days of war, of big Russian invasion. Guys, if you have such opportunity, please check out this video. It's worth it and it's worth sharing. Did you have a chance to see it?
I did. I saw it in Kiev with Maria, and it was a unique experience because there was no English subtitles, and there's a lot of Ukrainian spoken, and I don't really know the language too well, so Maria had to help translate it. But it was a very powerful experience seeing it in Kiev in when I was there, and I actually I haven't told my own stream this yet, but I got tickets to a showing that's in the University of Minnesota on Thursday. They're premiering it, or not. It's not a premiere anymore, but it's a I forgot what the term is, but they're having a showing of it at the University of Minnesota. So I'm going to be going and trying to promote this film to more Americans because I feel like, I mean, Europeans have a grasp. There's still some places in Europe that need some help and some attention and misinformation and stuff, but like America really needs to understand like what's happening in Ukraine because a lot of Americans have shut out. And I know we have a big American audience, you and me, but there's still a lot of people outside of our bubble and out of our sphere that we need to hit this message with still, even 2 years later.
Yeah, absolutely. And one small announcement from Janine. Janine, our mercenary moderator, guys, I'm sure everybody who watches my channel knows Janine. She asked me to shout the Magic Food Army. It's her organization. Those are volunteers that prepare food for the Ukrainian defenders. Guys, please check out her channel. Janine, please, can you throw your link there in the chat? It's worth it, guys.
What's it called again, bro? What's it called?
It's Magic Food Army.
Magic Food Army. I'm just going to put this in my notes so I remember.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
Those guys have to change their headquarters, and they need assistance, and there's a lot of things to do. And before we start, I think it's like I don't have to introduce you to my audience because everybody knows you. But for those who don't know you, can you please say a couple of words about yourself?
Of course. I'm Andrew Mercado. I'm an independent journalist. I own Mercado Media Productions LLC, which is an independent news company, and I have just been covering the war in Ukraine since February 24th of 2022. Been to Ukraine 4 times, and it's a blessing. And I'm going to be planning to go back very soon. So I cover the war on my channel through live streams, but I try to do videos here and there. But I got to learn. I still have to learn for the best on how to best get that out there. But yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Guys, we met with Andrew, was it last year?
Yeah, it was the first time. It was in June, late June. Yeah, you showed me Kyiv, and you walked around. We went to Hostomel together, no, we went to Hostomel, and then you were there, and then you showed me around, and it was quite the experience.
Yeah, it was awesome. So basically, Andrew Mercado is my bro. Also, we drink together sometimes. And yeah, and let's talk about Pope, because
Hmm.
what happened. Uh, what happened? What was it like 2 days ago? When no, it was like 3 days ago. It was on Saturday. It was like 2 days ago, when he said that basically Ukraine must be stronger, which means that Ukraine has to raise white flag
The white
and
flag.
and
Yeah.
and strongly give up, capitulate to the Russian invaders, which raised a lot of response, a lot of reaction from other people, and one of them was head of the Ukrainian Greek Catholic Church, Mr. Shevchuk. Greek Catholic Church in Ukraine, of course, reports to Pope Francis directly. And in New York, he said, in Ukraine, speaking on behalf of the Ukrainian people, no one even dares to think about giving up. It's like no,
It's not even a question.
nobody wants to give up. And he says, those of you who doesn't believe in the victory of Ukraine, you gotta go and confess. Ukraine is, of course, tired and exhausted, but it stands and it keeps standing. And even there, where today we have ongoing combat, go and listen to our people in Kherson, Zaporizhia, Odessa, Kharkiv, and Sumy. They don't want to give up. And if you don't believe in our victory, you gotta go and confess, because it means that you don't trust to the living God that exists in the body of the Ukrainian people, which I think is amazing speech. And exactly after Mr. Shevchuk, the Ukrainian President Zelensky literally effed him up, in every possible position. He said, when the Russian evil on 24th of February started this war, all Ukrainians stood up and accepted the fight. All the Christians, Muslims, Jewish, everyone. This is the church. It's with the people. It's not somewhere 2,000 kilometers away, attempting to conduct virtual moderation between those who want to live and between those who want to kill them. I think it was powerful. And in Germany, a lot of German politicians literally deatomized Pope. So yesterday, deputy head of German Bundestag, Katrin Göring-Eckardt, from the party, from the Green Party, said that those who demand from Ukraine to just give up gives to aggressor that what he illegally captured And exactly this is how he or she agrees, admits to destroy Ukraine. Roderick Kiesewetter also said it's unbelievable that head of the Catholic Church basically supports the aggressor. Marie Agnes Strack-Zimmermann also said that before raising before Ukraine raises the white flag, the Pope has loudly called the Russian invaders, called the Russian invaders to stop. I'm bad with German language, still learning, guys. Yeah,
Doing better than
and,
I am. Doing better than I would.
yeah, and also she asks why, in the name of God, he doesn't condemn the deathly rhetorics of Patriarch Kirill from the Russian Church, chief of the Russian Church, and former KGB agent. By the way, it's really nice that people in Europe, that decision makers in Europe, call things, what they are. Literally, like the dude is a KGB agent, yes, and this is what she says. Matthias Hauer also said that as a Catholic Christian, he feels really, really ashamed because the Roman Catholic Church failed in this, in this situation. He says that this way the Pope of Rome advises Ukraine to continue living under the Russian dictator, oppression, and things like that. It's amazing. After this happened, after all kinds of responses were heard from all kinds of people and representatives of political parties and all the supporters of Ukraine. Of course, then the press service of the Roman Pope had to somehow, react to this, and basically they said that the Pope of Rome actually didn't mean that, and he wanted to say different thing, which is, he wanted to call both sides to negotiate, but for some reason this negotiation looks a bit one-sided, like Ukraine must always capitulate. We must always die. For some reason, like, I have no idea. We must always fucking die.
Or lose land or lose territory, right? And it's like the land was for Crimea and Donbass and parts of Donetsk and Luhansk were already, that was already like in 2014. It was like, okay, they took land. Okay, we won't go full scale war to fight the Russians, and they tried to like not do this until Russia full scale invaded Ukraine, and it's Ukraine on defense. The other thing that was mentioned as well, from, I don't know if you mentioned Dmitry Kuleba's statements in regards to the white flag comment by the Pope, says our flag is yellow and blue. This is the flag by which we live, die, and prevail. We shall never raise any other flags. And then he thanked the Pope for his constant prayers and peace, which that's what the Pope is for, not supposed to glaze genocidal dictators like Vladimir Putin. You think that the Pope is supposed to represent Christianity and Catholicism, which I was actually raised Catholic. We actually went to the Catholic Church when I was a kid. My parents, they pulled us out of the Catholic Church. They didn't like the direction it was going, and I didn't understand what that meant at the time. But growing up as an adult and this just constant, we don't need to get, unless you want to, but the Catholic Church and the problems that has and the issues with that, and then also just constant statements from Pope Francis that are, again, capitulating to evil, right? The Pope is supposed to represent a godly figure, right? Or he's a human vessel for God or whatever on earth here. That's, again, things I don't really believe in anymore, but this is like the premise of it. And here he is excusing evil on earth, and something that in theory, like, again, if you believe in this, like the devil or Satan would be accustomed to, right? Satan would want to conquer Ukraine. The devil would want to conquer Ukraine, to take over, because Ukrainians are chilling, you guys. Like they're farming, they're trying to live life, they're trying to build a better family economy, like just exist. Literally, that's what Ukraine wants to do. And Russia's like, nope, we're going to take that away. We're going to take all of that. We want all that. Oh, well, then we'll rebuild on top of Mariupol, and the buildings aren't even put together properly, and there's cracks in the buildings, and the doors don't close, and just, oh my goodness, dude, just so much. I don't want to rant too much, but it's because I grew up as a Christian, and then like somebody that went to church because my parents took me there. And then when you see the Pope just being absolutely opposite of what he is supposed to represent or be, just a reminder of my own personal decisions, and I'm happy with where I'm going in my life, I guess.
Oh my
That's an
God.
American take on it, though, bro. Like, because Europe, I think, might have a closer tie to the Pope. I mean, I think there might be some Americans that maybe in the Catholic Church that, like, I know my grandpa, but he's even Catholic, though, and he doesn't even really look to the Pope of what the Pope says about Catholicism.
Bro, are there a lot of Catholics in the US?
Yeah.
Like comparing to Protestants and others?
I guess I would have to look at the actual like numbers, but I mean, it's Christianity. There's a lot of like non-denominational Christians here, where like you don't choose like a denomination, but there's like Baptists, there's Protestants, there's Catholics, there's tons. Like a lot of it gets blurred too, but like unless you go to like a specific church that's like where this is like Protestant, and like they have certain names too.
Yeah, and unfortunately, there's also Russian Orthodox Church in the U.S., which is very, very dangerous, guys. And speaking of devil, I made a small research on Pope Francis, and this is what I like to tell you guys. First of all,
give me like 2 minutes, bro. Keep talking. I'm just gonna run downstairs real quick.
Sure.
Yeah.
So, first of all, of course, he was a big friend with Patriarch Kirill, the Russian KGB agent, and currently employed as Russian Patriarch, Orthodox Patriarch. If you haven't watched our video, our report on the Russian Orthodox Church and FSB infiltrating the West, please do that. The video is available on the website of, on the channel of the Propaganda Study Institute. So after the big invasion, they kind of had a quarrel. They not they, but Pope Francis specifically condemned Patriarch Kirill for his support of Russian invasion. And speaking of Pope Francis, we have to understand one thing. He's not completely Vatnik, but he says a lot of things that, go completely in line with the Kremlin's narratives. That's the whole purpose of this video, to understand what the fuck is wrong with the Pope. So, of course, he condemned the invasion, he condemned the Patriarch Kirill for his support of this invasion. As you know, Patriarch Kirill is known for blessing weapons that kill Ukrainian citizens. He's known for calling to kill Ukrainians, invade Ukraine, fight against Western values, democracy, and everything else. But it's not the thing. At the same time, Pope Francis was known for this, I don't know how to describe it, this absolute cringe. So they had this event where a Russian and a Ukrainian women were carrying the cross, and according to Pope Francis, that should have symbolize, the friendship between Ukrainians and Russian, and peace and harmony, and yada yada. So,
is that Medvedev in the picture, bro? Looks
No,
in the
no,
back.
no.
Oh,
It's not him because Medvedev, he's only awake when he drinks.
okay. You're right. You're right.
Yeah, and here we have Rick the Ukrainian, by the way, Patriarch
Hey, shout out to
Francis, he
Rick the
says.
Ukrainian. I see you. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
Patriarch Francis.
And when people on the West imagine things like that, Russian soul and Ukrainian soul holding hands and things like that, to them it looks like, like peace and harmony. It's like friendship of nations, brotherly whatever, brotherly countries and things like that. To Ukrainians, it's a bit different. To Ukrainians, it's as if Russia is holding our hand by force, dragging us down into their fucking swamp. They like people on the West, people like Pope Francis, they can barely understand that, but we will talk about it a bit later. At the same time, he was again saying a lot of things pro-Ukrainian. He was praying for the Azov prisoners of war that were kept in Russia, and he supports Ukrainian prisoners. But at the same time, he's never been to Ukraine. And this, my friends, I think is his biggest problem, because I don't know what kind of people have not visited Ukraine. What kind of pro-Ukrainian people have not visited Ukraine by now, as of this day. Oh my God! All kinds of politicians, all kinds of religious movements, all kinds
Yep.
of I don't know, imams and rabbis, and you name it. I don't know. Of course,
You're not wrong.
pro-Russian people never visited, like Orban and Trump, like those fuckers. But
David
everybody.
Sachs, Elon.
Yeah, Elon, of course. Elon would rather go to Gaza or Israel, but he would never visit Ukraine.
Literally.
Even though the front line in Ukraine and the scale is incredibly bigger comparing to Gaza. Gaza is the size of my Darnitsa district in Kyiv, where I lived, but it's even smaller. Of course, I'm not saying that what happens there is not like tragedy, but at the same time,
Right.
we have a central conflict burning in the middle of Europe, and but again, we'll talk about it a bit later. Also, Pope Francis was known for glorifying Russian historical figures that are broadly used by the pro-Russian propagandists and Russian propagandists in their informational warfare, such as Tsar Pyotr the Great, Katerina, and things like that. During his... we have Ivan Hashina in the chat. Bro, hello, that's my bro from the National Guard. He talked about it during his meeting with Russian youth, not only youth, but generally Russian audience, and he said, be like Tsar Peter the Great, be like Catherine, let them inspire you and lead you to the better future, shit like that. At the same time, he doesn't understand several things, that those leaders, they were responsible for almost destruction of Poland. They were responsible for enslaving Ukrainian people. For example, Catherine the Great, you know about Cossacks, right? Ukrainian Cossacks. So Catherine destroyed the Cossack siege. And basically, because of her, the Cossacks stopped existing. They ceased to be in Ukraine. That's her direct responsibility. numerous repressions made against the Ukrainian language and Ukrainian culture were due to those historical figures. And nowadays, Putin and Dugin and Prilepin, they all are basically inspired by them, because they want to conduct the same kind of genocide that those two did back in those days. Oh yeah, we have Ellie, by the way. Ellie, hello, thank you for moderating our
Shout out to
chat
the
today.
moderator team.
Yeah,
Thank you, Ali. This
guys,
is all interesting to learn too, bro. A lot of this stuff I'm learning from you too. Like that's why I like that new channel that you got. What's the name of it again?
Is Propaganda Study Institute.
Propaganda Study Institute. That's really, really great platform for combating misinformation and actually taking time to dive into this stuff. Because I mean, again, like I said, I was raised a Catholic, but Americans, I think, are a little bit more disconnected from the Pope than a lot of Europeans. So especially when we see things like this take place in real time in our reality now, it's like, what does the Pope even stand for, honestly? But hearing the history of it, it's like, it seems to be stands for a lot of Vatnik stuff.
Kind of, yeah.
And the position of it, I should say too.
And basically, this is why we are streaming today. Also because I miss you like crazy, bro.
Yeah, bro, for sure.
Like the last time I saw you in, I believe, December.
Yeah.
No, was it December?
It was December. It was the end, because I came home right before Christmas. I left home. I came quickly because the truck broke down, so I had to come back to Ukraine to make sure it delivered. So it was a quick one.
I think we had. Wait a second, I have this photo because we had sushi back then.
We did.
And of course, wait, February, where is it? Guys, where is it? Oh yeah, here it is. I don't know how to show it in the stream, but
there you go. Oh yeah, that was good sushi. Yeah, that was at the place on Andreevsky Descent.
Yeah,
I stayed on that one.
I think it was the next day after the big air alert. There was a big strike back then, as far as I remember.
Yeah, there was, bro. That was the big drone attack that had taken place. And I'd experienced that for the first time, and I heard the air defense going off, and yeah, that was a time. Yep. Yeah. And staying on Andreevsky Descent too. It's like up a hill, so it was different. It was icy, and I had to like navigate, but it was a really cool historical area. And staying in Podil district was very nice. Like it was not as much traffic. And didn't hear honking or people trying to get to work or because on Krishatik it's pretty busy. I like Krishatik though. I like the balcony. I like having the Good Morning Kyiv, which I want to do when I come back again because hopefully it'll be warmer. And we can do those Good Morning Kyiv interviews.
Yeah, absolutely. And fast forward says, got my baby Starsky mug today. Oh my God, do they make mugs with baby Starsky? That is incredible. So, the Pope, and on this picture you can see some of the fascist fuck hanging some of those St. George's, so-called St. George's ribbons on the Pope, and Pope is very proud to have them on him. He doesn't realize that all kinds of invaders that invaded my country, and those are specifically the Spetsnaz that invaded Hostomel and died there in big numbers.
Big numbers.
Yeah, they were all wearing the same colors because this is basically the color of the so-called Ruski Mir, this fascist ideology of supremacy and despise towards other nations, other people, other races, other religions, and other cultures. Watching those invaders and then watching Pope being very, very happy wearing those colors. It's freaking amazing. I just, what do you think about it, bro?
It's sad, bro. It just reiterates what I said earlier. That when you have this man who's supposed to be a religious figure and represent a faction of Christianity, it might not be like, Catholicism isn't. I mean, there's Protestants obviously and like different branches of Christianity, but still, he's the Pope. He's supposed to be this religious God vessel that God speaks through him or whatever to the people of the Roman Catholic Church, which again is still a branch of Christianity. And it's just a reminder for me personally. Again, I respect anybody that has a religion and you have a higher power and you want to do what you got to do. But for me personally, it just reaffirms, like, man, the people on earth here they don't have the answers for if you were to believe in a higher power or a holy entity. It's not, you got to probably figure that out spiritually or find somebody that you can trust that has your best interests for you, that, wants to see you succeed. You might share spiritual, religious connections, that which might come through mentoring or however, but the Pope and people like the Pope that are just going to carry narratives for genocidal countries like Russia and literally, like, again, wear imperialistic items and emblems and play this peacenik both sides game. They're not a religious figure that you should subscribe to, that being the Pope, which is very sad to say.
Yeah, unfortunately. And of course, as a Pope, he must also be neutral.
Yeah.
At least if you don't support the people that were invaded, then at least stop supporting the invaders.
Yeah.
Because it's crazy. But while while learning his different speeches over those years, I noticed one interesting thing. So whenever he speaks what his press service prepares for him, that it's fine. It's fine because he's condemning the Russian invaders. He's calling them to stop attacking Ukraine. He goes to the Russian embassy, for example, in Italy, and speaks to their diplomats and shit like that. He does proper things, but as soon as he wants to speak from the heart, right?
I see what you're saying now. Yeah.
Yeah, that is where we see the real Pope. What he thinks in reality, right? And this reality, this is something that I wanted to discuss because Pope Francis comes from Argentina. Russian influence is really strong there. I cannot say that it is as strong as in different African countries, for example, but generally it is. Not like in Brazil, maybe smaller, but it is. There's this Russian organization called Россотрудничество. Basically, it's a second department of FSB. First one is the Russian Orthodox Church. Second one is Россотрудничество. We will talk about them a bit later in the upcoming videos. But basically, whatever he learned from the books of history in school or some different books maybe while being there while being young, while growing up, that is what he knows about Russia, about beautiful, extremely deep culture, загадочная русская душа and shit like that.
Русская душа. Classic video.
Oh my god! Oh my god! Now it's my head. It's in my head.
I'm sorry.
I deleted this video from my computer forever.
And now it's back in your head.
So the problem is that there is this stereotype, and this stereotype is really, really widespread in the Western audience. And I'm talking about Europe, I'm talking about South America, North America, several Asian countries, of course, African countries. There's a stereotype, okay? Stereotype number one is that Russia is not a terrorist country, and I think that we have to break this stereotype as much as we possibly can, because Russia is a terrorist regime recognized by the Parliamentary Assembly of the European Union in 2022. They still think that Russian people, and I tried to understand like this photo, okay, from the standpoint of Pope. So the Pope possibly wanted, for example, Russians to see that and think, oh, we can be friends, we possibly can be friends with Ukrainians, we have to stop Putin somehow. So stereotype number two is that people on the West still think that Russians decide like anything, at least anything in Russia. They don't. Because there is no freedom of speech, there is no freedom of press, there's like fucking zero. There is only a terrorist Russian regime and its slaves. Period. So they think that like beautiful culture, they think that Russians decide something, and also very important video I watched several days ago. Anders Nielsen. He's a prominent YouTuber. He's a good military expert. He's experienced military expert, and he was talking in some of his recent videos about the like informational warfare against Russia, against the Russian regime. And he said that we were trying to find some ways to influence, to reach the Russian audience, but it's really hard, and one of the ways to do that is to support the Russian oppositionists like Max Katz, like all the guys that are currently outside Russia and things like that.
Should we be careful just supporting any oppositionists to Vladimir Putin, though?
Yes, absolutely. And there are several reasons for that. Max Katz, even though he hates Putin, but he doesn't love Ukraine either. He doesn't support us. And when they had their protests, Max Katz was the same dude, and I can quote him. He published this on his social media, that we should not listen to Ukrainians because their experience is different, our experience is different. Meanwhile, protests in Russia failed, protests in Belarus failed, protests in Ukraine, we have Revolution of Dignity, which was successful, right? And basically Ukrainians have the only best practice, the only success story among all the Eastern European countries that had revolutions like that.
Not only that, bro, but too, right now, you go to Krishnatic Street and there's at least 2 protests happening a day. Like, like there might be a smaller group of people that are asking for different things from the government or whatever, but when you go on Krishnatic, you see that, and it's open in broad daylight. Maidan, the biggest places in Kyiv, open exercise, or in the United States would be the second First Amendment, which is their freedom of speech, right? See that clear as day in Ukraine. You don't have that in Russia.
Yeah, absolutely. We have protests against, I don't know,
Mm-hmm.
Mayor Klitschko. We have protests against
Mm-hmm.
Zelensky. We have protests against like everybody. And this is how it's supposed to be. We have
Yeah,
democracy. Yeah,
exactly.
but speaking about Anders Park Nielsen,
Mm-hmm.
one thing that he didn't consider was Russia. Russian terrorist regime spends billions of dollars on internal propaganda and external propaganda. And if you want your campaign to be as successful and reach this Russian internal audience, you have to spend at least the same amount of money for at least the same period of time, uh, which is impossible. Like, there's no way it's gonna work. So another thing, if you for example, if you want some kind of result, you have to have plan. If you want uprising in Russia, you have to plan this uprising. This uprising has to come through different stages, and you have to at least imagine how it's gonna work, right? You have
Mm-hmm.
to have some kind of plan, because if you want result, you need to understand how to reach this result. And if you just throw different, like random narratives to the Russian people, to the Russian internal audience, saying that we need to change the regime, we need peace with Ukraine, and yada yada yada, and blame like Russian regime. Like, yeah, it's a good thing, because people in Russia must understand why the world hates them, and
Mm-hmm.
they must understand that it's also bad to hate the world like they do. So the problem is there is no plan, and Russian regime knows well how to suppress the uprisings. They have really, really experienced guys that know how to do that, that know how to eliminate, activists, that know how to, that know whom to arrest, okay, whom to assassinate, and things like that. That's why if you don't have plan, it's not gonna work, and nobody has plan. And thing number three is, in instead of working with the internal Russian audience, we have to work with the external Western audience. This is currently more important, because Russian informational warfare is 10 times stronger than whatever we have right now, and we're losing this war. And soon it will be too late to change anything. When we wake up, when my viewers wake up in their countries that exited NATO, exited European Union, and basically led by far-right people who say we are strong, but at the same time they cannot protect themselves against Russia. That will definitely attack them. So that's the thing. We have to work more with the external audience rather than with the internal Russian audience.
Exactly. And also, like, for me, for with Americans too, coming up with this election, like, so many Americans look to Russia as this like ultra, like it was almost kind of like alt media, and how people like go into, and it's important going to alternative news and not going to the mainstream narrative every time. But we're in this era now where people are just going to choose the opposing narrative no matter what, and it's to the point where that means cheering on Russia just because America bad, NATO bad, West bad, therefore Russia good, Russia based. I must cheer for Russia, and it's like a lot of that is in the United States. And I feel like I went out on a date the other night, and first thing this chick says is she brings up my Ukraine bracelet, and she says, "I have a very strong opinion on Ukraine." I was like, "Oh
Yeah.
God!" I was like, "Oh God, okay, here we go. What is it?" I was like, what do you got? And she said, well, I don't like how all this money's going to Ukraine and I don't have enough money for groceries. And this is like a common narrative in the US, dude. Common one, because Americans on right-wing media and fringe left media, like other places, are using money to Ukraine as a reason as to why which again isn't even a thing either, because their economy in the US is doing well and we're doing really, and jobs are up, everything's doing well right now. It's just the influence of the media and like fear and carnage, and be sad, be depressed, you're in a shit position, your life sucks. But it was the perfect example of it was the GOP response to President Biden's State of the Union address, and how unhinged Katie Britt's response was, like, who represents the Republican Party. And it's just, man, like the messages that need to get to the and it said, anyways, let me go back to the conversation. So she's hitting me with these, and like, my money goes to you, I not have enough money. I'm like, well, where'd you hear this from? I don't know, blah blah blah. Okay, well, it's important who tells you this, or I saw it somewhere on the internet. I'm like, where did you see it on the internet? Who said this to you? Like, where are you getting this? Where are you hearing all of this? And at the end of it, like, she couldn't even tell me where she even heard it from. She just saw it somewhere on the internet, and like, she was laughing and she's like, stop, like, because I was like pushing. Like, I wasn't even being mean. I really wasn't. I was being really, really calm about it, because like, actual Vatniks and like pro-Russians, I'm going to debate you, and like, I'm going to be mad at you and probably not come off very nice, but like, I was being very nice about it. But at the end of it, I figured out it's just ignorance. It's literally just ignorance. Not her, maybe it might not be her fault. She's probably busy. She's probably got like lot going on where she can't really stay in tune with current events. So that's my job as like a journalist or somebody that talks about current events, to also break down these narratives a little bit more, or at least don't even just ask the questions. Like, I think I unraveled it for her, and by the end of it, she was like, her opinion about Ukraine, I think, maybe have changed a little bit. You know what I mean? At least she wasn't like hard charging like she was to start the conversation about my money's going to Ukraine and I don't have money for groceries and any of that. And then I told her, I literally was like, I had to break it down. I was like, do you know how much money we're actually sending to Ukraine? She's like, none of that money comes back. I'm like, actually, do you know that 95% of it actually comes back to the United States? Are you? I was like, I had some for every time, but I feel like this is what you just said, like, even with the Russian side of it, but also with like Americans. And from my aspect, like, we just need to that's why I'm trying to talk about other topics on like my stream, but also bringing it back to Ukraine, you know, because no matter what, we're going to bring it back to Ukraine. But I want this message to reach new people that might be still ignorant on this, especially going into our election year. We got a new president election coming up, Trump and Biden again, and Ukraine is going to be one of the top talking points and also sources of misinformation that we're going to have to combat this year.
Yeah, I agree on that, bro. And Sanctioned Ivan, bro, if you hear me, if you're still in the chat, please let me know. Sanctioned Ivan is a Russian blogger, and I'm subscribed to him. Recently, his channel was attacked big time by the Russian bots, and basically he was the one who destroyed, in my opinion, destroyed Tucker's video with visiting that freaking supermarket and shit. It was amazing. So if you're still there, please let me know, because if we want to understand, and I think it would be useful, for example, for Anders Nielsen, if we want to understand how to reach the Russian people, the Russian audience, I think we must ask people like Sanctioned Ivan. He can easily explain that. And also his content is really, really cool.
Yeah, I've seen that's Sanctioned Ivan, right, on YouTube.
Yeah.
So
tell me, what was the craziest experience with? Oh yeah, Sanctioned Ivan is here, bro. Please, if you can, please just drop me several messages on my email that I will just drop in the chat real quick, because we need to get in touch.
Bro,
It's
Ivan, you do a great service for us, you know, and providing a perspective that's needed. So keep up the good work. Fight the bots. Fight through it. Stay strong. You reach a lot of people you probably don't even know. So we've seen your videos on my channel too. So keep up the good work.
Yeah, absolutely. Respect. So now to you, bro. What was the craziest experience with bots in your Twitter?
Oh my! Well, the private parts in bio and every comments.
Yeah,
That's the common one now. It's literally like porn. Like is Twitter's become 4chan or a dark places of the internet that common folks didn't really go to back like 5-10 years ago, or like Reddit. It's even worse than Reddit now, but that's what a lot of people, that's what a lot of the feed is. It's what a lot of the comments is, or like propagandists and Votniks on that platform now. A lot of their tweets and a lot of their posts are getting amplified by these bots, and you can pay for them. It's easy. There's no protection over it. We saw a perfect example today, which I'll talk about later on my stream. It's a little anecdote, but I've seen it. Like, it's easy to buy bots now on X, and then they fill your feed, and they have number names. It's like one name and then 07583765 or something. They always have digit numbers. So if you're ever on that platform and you see replies and it's like Marco 079375, it's a bot. Okay, don't even give that thing a time. Check the follower count. If they have if they're not following anybody, or if they have no followers or what, it's a bot. But the crazy ones usually come off the Elon Musk posts when I'm like, Elon Musk is a Russian asset. You've seen a couple of those. But yeah, I'll be like, because he responds. He was actually literally responding to Russian, the Ministry of Defense. He was
yeah,
responding
yeah.
to Kim.com screenshotted Shoigu screenshotted his statement, and then Elon Musk responded to it. Like, he's actually now pushing out pure Russian from the source now, not even being laundered, right? The misinformation laundering that happens out here, it wasn't even done that way. It's just straight from the source now. It's just so obvious.
Yeah, it's crazy. And I remember in one of his commentaries, he posted a picture of Iosif Stalin. It was like, you know, it sounds really funny, but not for those who lost their grandparents because of Stalin.
Right.
Yeah, and I wanted to make this fun Photoshop with the same, smiling Joseph Stalin, with the background of Elon Musk's deceased son, but I decided not to fall as low as this bastard. Maybe somebody else can do it. I think he will be really happy. It's fun. It's
I want the Votniks to appreciate how much I do hold back from being unhinged, because boy, the amount of things that I hold back from saying and doing because I want you got it. Just, I'm trying to be a better person. I'm 30 years old now. I can't be a 20-year-old internet troll, but obviously that's a business now, and a country's run off of that now. So there you go.
yeah, but sometimes it's fun.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, you're right. It's kind of
Yeah,
fun.
because one thing I completely agree with you is that like, don't touch those bots, because first of all, they promote your content. They work as a free promotion for your videos or your publications in Twitter or your community posts. They work they benefit the algorithm, right? And another thing is sometimes they post some like completely crazy shit which I never encountered before. And
Bro,
then I go, oh, that's like, that sounds like a new narrative, and let's debunk it. And then I debunk that narrative, which I didn't do for a while though, but I will do that again. So, in your opinion, what is the best way of, because it was my way, but what is the best way of countering the Russian propaganda in the commentaries, and is it worth it?
yeah, I think it's worth it. Oh, well, shit, that's like two. Oh, wow. So it's got to be done. Unfortunately, it's a daunting task, and you're gonna have lots of hate coming your way for doing so. Like you're gonna have a lot, and whether it's from somebody at a desk in Moscow or St. Petersburg, like botting your DMs and your responses to just try to emotionally dominate you and like hit you with all types of stuff. But at the same time, if you present the truth, if you're bringing the receipts, you're fine. If you go to a piece of Russian information and it's like that's BS, and then they'll be like, well, why is it BS? And then if you don't have a response to it, then then you're kind of screwed, right? I mean, even if you're right, but if you have the receipts immediately, you're like, okay, well, this, and this, and you have a picture, like that's a big one, a picture, graphs, I don't know, data, something that can't be really like something that isn't feelings or an opinion, something that's raw evidence. It's like, what are you going to do about that? Then it's on the point of like a third party to look at the debate and be like, am I smart enough to discern between fairy tale land and somebody that has receipts and evidence and facts to what they have? You know what I mean? You can only do so much as the person with the information. At that point, you're just trying to get other people to see what you got in contrast to what the other person has. So you just got to come with the truth and be confident about it. And that's my opinion on it.
Yeah. Sanctioned Ivan says, I'm pretty sure the bots harm your algorithm, to be honest. They kind of do. So when they comment on under your content, it's okay. Because
don't respond to them though.
Absolutely. You can respond to them. It doesn't matter much. You just make sure you don't say anything harmful for yourself, because you can get reported straight away. But when their comments invoke discussion, it's okay. It's normal, because it boosts the algorithm. But what they do on a YouTube, they massively add you. They massively follow your channel, and after a while, of course, they like report your videos and shit like that. But after a while, they massively unfollow you. And when algorithm understands that people are abandoning this channel, then it's harmful for your channel. This is something that I've been explained, but I cannot neither confirm nor disconfirm that. Tinky asks, is it true that there's a placed statue of Prigozhin and Utkin in Krasnodar Krai? Oh my god, I've heard something like that, but did you hear about that?
No, bro, what is the story? I can look it up real quick.
So in Krasnodar there's like statue of Prigozhin, memorial to like Prigozhin and Utkin. If you can, please check it out.
Yeah.
Yeah, so one thing I know was that there is a memorial to Prigozhin in several places in Russia.
Oh, yeah.
And I saw
I see it now.
Yeah, I see this crazy saw this crazy video where Wagnerites were stealing. Basically, you can find it on YouTube, I think, or in the Telegram. Wagnerites were stealing flowers from the memorial to Navalny and bringing those flowers to memorial of Prigozhin, which I don't really know how to comment.
Yeah.
Fuck. Sanctioned Ivan says, I had like 15,000 bots subscribed to the channel. Oh, fuck.
He got hit with the bot.
Yeah, and YouTube removed them in a day or two. Well, I understand how it works now, because
Did it hurt his analytics afterwards? Did he have to fight for videos after that?
Yeah, that's what I want to know, because because if another thing, there is this paid promotion for different YouTube channels. You pay like $100 to a company that starts pumping your channel with fake accounts, and of course YouTube, YouTube algorithm also counters that. So when they see that a lot of fake accounts are following your channel, yeah, this can also harm your account as well.
Did you ever get your silver play button from YouTube?
What?
Did you get your silver play button from YouTube yet?
No, man, no.
Oh, what the fuck?
For those who don't know, the story is crazy because when when the invasion started, and I already had like 200,000 viewers,
Yeah.
something like that, I thought maybe it's a good idea to receive like a silver button, because like why not?
Right.
I'm not gonna show it to everybody,
Right.
yeah, but why not? So I wrote the YouTube support team, and I said, guys, I have more than 200,000 subs. Can you please send me this button somehow? I don't know. Maybe I will like auction it or whatever.
Right. Yeah.
I would really do that.
Yeah, I think that'd be real. That'd be kind of cool. It'd be like that would actually work really. That one would go well in an auction. I tell you what.
Yeah, but I don't know. But like if I have it, I will definitely auction it. Mark my words. But they said like, yeah, sure, we can do that. Let us work on it. Give us some time. And after a while, they sent me a letter saying, thank you so much for your time. Unfortunately, we're still working on it. And after a while, they sent me the same absolutely message saying absolutely the same shit. And then after a while, they said, some messenger, my God, manager reached out to me and said, "Hello, I'm your new manager. The previous one was expired. I will work on your case. Okay, I will make sure that you receive your button." And after that, she sent me 14 emails. By the time Ukrainians almost completely encircled Russian battalion tactical groups on the north of Kiev. So they started retreating, and after several days, Kiev was liberated. We returned to Irpin, to Hostomel, Bucha, and I wrote this manager another email saying, I guess this task is too freaking hard because it takes more time than it took my people to liberate Kiev.
Liberate.
Yeah, so guys, please disregard my message. I don't really want that button. Please keep it for yourself. They said, thank you so much for understanding. And Alexis says that
Damn, you too.
Greg Terry's live just started. Oh my God. Oh my God.
Yeah, everyone's popping up. Yeah.
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 What else can I say? I think that we can answer some questions in the chat.
Yeah. Let's answer a couple of questions.
Yeah, guys, don't hesitate to ask me or Andrew your questions. Andrew Patry, Merrick is right, 160K, and I can read the chat.
You might be talking about something else.
I guess.
Yeah.
I think Johnny went through the same thing with bot, floods, and algorithm.
Johnny FD.
Yeah, it's from KKSGG. Yeah. Well, I'm not surprised actually. Of course, I think something like that is something that I have to anticipate as well. Not that I'm the most prominent blogger and the most important one, but I think eventually I can expect that as well. Because currently I see that on my channel sometimes 200, sometimes 300 bots get eliminated. Not more than that.
Shout out to I have a good mod team too that helps keep that out of the chat too. And like if it's because they are so obvious, the bots haven't found any, or even if they're trolls or botted accounts, they haven't found new ways to try to hide themselves. So they'll be exposed eventually. They always do.
Yeah. Dakian Rider asks, what would you advise Eastern Flank states to upgrade and work on for the coming years? What's your thought, Andrew?
One more time. Sorry.
What would you advise Eastern flank states to upgrade and work on for the coming years? I think speaking of Eastern European.
Oh, Eastern European countries.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, they gotta step up even more for Ukraine. I'm glad. I'm actually. I like the rhetoric that I've been hearing. I don't like the misinformation about people misconstruing Macron's words and the Polish Prime Minister's words. But I like the energy that they're bringing aside from the misinformation about NATO troops in Ukraine. Right. Obviously, Russia's blurred that waters. People are trying to, whatever. There's no NATO soldiers in Ukraine. There's NATO trained that were once in the military and now they're out of the military, and then they go and provide their services to Ukraine and they're brought into the armed forces, official paperwork. They're in the Ukrainian military. But I support like Macron and the Polish minister's statements like, hey, we're not going to let Russia win in Ukraine. And even if that results in eventually, again, it's not being talked about, but it's not off the table type conversations, which that reminds me of what I tell on my stream is I'm reminded of 2022 narratives from European leaders and US leaders, but mostly like European ones that said, no matter what, to the end, no matter what it takes, we're not going to let Russia take Ukraine out. So it's like, oh, it's back. The 2022 narratives are back of how much we're going to step up to help Ukraine, because 2023, obviously we saw the dwindling support and aid bills weren't getting through, and Orban and the EU and Trump and the United States and Olaf Scholz now in Germany with the Taurus missiles. Just constant, like, damn, like weak spines. Or as Brandon Mitchell put it in his speech, where he said, we have governments, but we don't have leaders, right? And Macron from France showed some leadership, in my opinion, here, right? And which is coming from France.
Yeah,
so
it's really cool to hear such messages
yes, bro.
From our allies.
Yes, and if anything, it lights a fire in the other allies' ass to like, hey, wake up, stop playing these internal political games. Like, we're doing what we said that we were going to do, and we're going to help Ukraine fight to the end. So, in terms of the eastern states, I mean, they've provided whole percentages of GDPs, right? It's Estonia, Latvia, Lithuania, given GDP percentages to Ukraine, like given the most they can. But that's probably going to continue because they are the frontline defense to the rest of Europe. Those countries are the frontline defense. Ukraine is obviously the shield right now. But if Russia's able to destabilize other countries, even NATO countries, which clearly they're showing they're trying to, they're clearly not afraid of the Article 5 thing. Militarily they are, but in terms of like trying to destabilize our countries internally, they clearly have no problem and no issue doing that.
Yeah. And by the way, we're like twins.
I like that.
Oh shit!
I want to get freedom in Ukrainian. That'd be cool if I could get that put on there. I think I can make custom Under Armour stuff.
Reiska asks, I understood that you're no longer in the military. Is that true? It is true. I am a veteran now.
Let's go, veteran club.
Still cannot believe that it happens and that it happened, but yeah. Unfortunately, being a military and being a brass officer of a specific brigade of the National Guard of Ukraine, I am not allowed to talk much about other places, other brigades and things like that. So,
and that's why you're a press officer too. Like, that's your actual job, is to be press and media, and you were still very limited. Man, I couldn't. In the U.S. military, and you wear that uniform on, I don't know what it's like now, but when I was in 2012 to 2016, we couldn't really be posting about politics or geopolitics or even go to events. It's actually against AR 670-1, which is a uniform code. You can't go to any events or rallies or protests or nothing in uniform. Like, you can't do any of that unless you're called to be there in the National Guard, like we saw in Minneapolis. But
yeah,
you have a level of extra levels of standards and professionalism when you wear the uniform.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's the reason why I had to quit the army in order to work with my Institute for Studying Propaganda, because you cannot combat propaganda while working yourself in frames of a stratcom. So
One more time. Oh, was that a
you cannot combat the propaganda while yourself working in frames of
true?
stratcom,
True.
strategic communication.
Strategic
So
commands. Yep.
yeah.
Yep.
And
Exactly.
Rick the Ukrainian says, I met Russian collaborationists in the Kiev downtown during the stream yesterday. We gotta check it out, bro.
What is this?
He met the Russian collaborationists in the Kiev downtown during the stream yesterday.
What is that about? I guess I'm not up to date with that.
I gotta check after this stream is finished.
Okay.
Fast forward, I wonder how many drones are going to get to Ukraine this year from around the world. Whew. I anticipate this number to have at least 6 zeros, because President Zelensky wanted something like 1 million drones, and it's hard to even count how many drones were already used in Ukraine.
Yeah, I've seen fundraisers for drone repairs now, like trying to keep the drones running even after they're damaged, to try to keep them going.
Yeah, even my
Wow.
bro sitting in Australia and welding the drones and
Wow.
like assembling them, like he's amazing. David Elston asks a really interesting question. What vehicles will Putin have on parade in May?
Oh, is that the Russian parade, the May Day parade or whatever?
Yeah, the Victory Day, День Победы.
Well, did they use that one T-54 in the front lines yet? Did they roll one? No, they used a T-55. I saw.
Yeah.
They loaded it with TNT and then just drove it at the front, at the Ukrainian defenders, and it got blown up like halfway in the field. It didn't make it, but I think they have a T-54. You guys.
Well, if they didn't use that old tank that they used on the previous parade,
True.
I think it was like T-34.
Oh, it was a T. Oh, sorry, my bad. It was worse. Yeah, that's older. It was. You're right. It was a T-34. They didn't have any.
If
They
it's
didn't have
still
any.
intact, yeah, if it's still intact, I think they may use that one, or if not,
Ladas. Parade of Lada trucks.
Oh my God. Sanctioned Ivan asks, Mercado, are you drinking a strawberry acai refresher?
You're goddamn right I am. Dang right. Strawberry acai refresher is my favorite one.
Nice.
I can't really have energy. I can't be drinking energy drinks like I have been. I don't drink a lot of energy drinks, but I sip them throughout the day, and I can't even do that. I think so. Too much health issues for me.
Goldbuster Starsky was the coolest weapon being used besides HIMARS and sea babies. There's a lot of stuff being used. I don't know, like smaller arms, artillery. I personally like Bradley because Bradley has a lot of shit, like BTR-3 basically, because on the BTR-3 you can find things like automatic grenade launcher, 30mm automatic cannon, 7.62mm machine gun, 2 laser guided anti-tank missiles, smoke grenades, and also there's a squad of men sitting inside, a squad of angry Ukrainian men.
And we know that a Bradley can defeat a T-90 one-on-one.
Yeah, so that's one thing, because BTR-3 cannot. BTR-3 has a 30mm cannon, but it's not enough to penetrate the tank's armor. That's something that we learned back in the days. But there's like 2 missiles. But
Bradley is nice. Yeah, Bradley's nice. Yeah, you only, even if in Afghanistan and Iraq from my era, that's American soldiers will tell you too about the Bradley and how much it saved lives and such an improvement from the M113 because the M113 is just it's a troop transport vehicle with not a whole lot of other features on there unless you put some guns on there. Which I was so watching you watch the frontline defenders use the M113s before the Bradleys got there was incredible because they were using them like they were Bradleys before the Bradleys even got there, and now here the Ukrainians have the Bradleys and they're able to take out T-90 tanks with them. So
Yeah. Anybody know anything about the widow Vera who is making a living repairing drones? We should boost support her. General, I don't know about her. Do you know anything, bro?
no, I don't. No, what's the background on that one?
Yeah, I have no idea, but I gotta check it out. Guys, I think because Greg is streaming and I failed to bribe or intimidate him not to do that, I think we should call it a day because it's already 11:20 in Ukraine. Guys, I would like to thank you so much for being with us today. Victor asks, Starsky, did you fire a Snipex alligator? No, I didn't. I fired, oh my god, UR-10, which is basically like AR-10 Stoner. I fired different European things like CZ527, Remington, and yada yada, but no. But I know what you're talking about. I would like to say,
Sanction Ivan asked a question really quick, if I could answer.
yeah,
He asked
yeah.
me, said, what does Mercado think about U.S. vets? And again, I'm glad that you did this. Coming to Russia and praising how amazing it is to live here. No mentions to no free advertisements. Very smart. Yeah, it's again, just they're caught up in culture war, America bad, or they're not even veterans, or a lot of the times, especially on like Twitter, they didn't even serve. They just will say that they were a veteran or whatnot. But if they did and they have served, they're caught up in culture war, America bad nonsense because the extremes in the United States are very anti-American, like on the right and the left. Like that's the only two really pathways we have in the United States. We're only got two sides really, politically and culturally. I mean, not really. I'd say culturally, no, but like we're getting there for cultural reasons too. Like politics are taking over our culture in every aspect, which is pushing us further left and right. But the extremes on the left and the right are definitely anti-American and anti-NATO, anti-Western democracy, all of that. And unfortunately, that the extremes, well, more often so, the far right will use veterans as a beacon, especially if they're this pro-Russian, anti-establishment, or whatever type of representation that they can use as like a political tool.
Yeah. Okay. I think we gotta wrap up because Greg will hate us. He won't. He's a preacher, but yeah. Mark, maybe you would like to say something to our viewers.
Yeah, you guys, thank you so much for tuning in and having me on as a guest today. I start my stream in like 40 minutes. So, because I'm going to be doing my streams 2 hours earlier than usual. My Ukraine update is at 7 p.m. Central though. So if you're going to go watch Greg for a couple hours and then come on over, that's completely fine. But I'm starting a little earlier to talk about other topics. Because like we said in this discussion, I want to reach new people because I got to talk about American topics. I'll bring in new people and then they're in my stream. And then 7 o'clock will come around. Oh, guess what? Here's the Ukraine update. Now I'm actually reaching some new people and I can educate them on the war in Ukraine a little more. So consider subscribing to my YouTube channel. Tune in. I'm live every night. And thank you guys so much for having me over on Operator Starsky's platform.
Always a pleasure, bro. You are one of my favorite guests here. Okay, and yeah, I hope that we'll have opportunity to see each other in offline.
Absolutely,
sometime
bro. Yeah,
soon.
I'm planning. I'm planning for May. I'm shooting for May convoy to come through. I hit up Greg because I want to go with him and see what he's doing, and actually bring my operator Dima with me. You've seen some of his film, and he was out there, got a big camera, and I want to like film what Greg's doing and what Pete from Project Constantine's doing, and maybe some of the other frontline NGOs that are out there. So I really want to like do some bring another truck and drones again as usual, or 2 trucks if we can in May. But I want to get back and do some more journalism, and then really dive in before we have to focus on U.S. politics and garbage here at home. So can't wait, bro.
Yeah, thank you so much, bro, and thank you so much to all of you guys, my beautiful viewers. Thank you for staying with me. It's been a while since our last stream, but hopefully it will change. Guys, be safe, and we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.
Have a good one.